Welcome to Progressive Soup. My name is David Stevenson. We're taping over in Newtown now, and let's talk about Newtown. With us, we've got a new friend of the show, Angela Evertez, who knows a lot and has spent a lot of time over at what we used to know as Fairfield Hills. And it was an interesting, was a prison at one time, a mental hospital. The town got it as part of a deal from the state of Connecticut, where a prison was allowed to be placed in another part of town. And people have been talking for, I bet it's been 20 years or more that we've been talking about how this is shaping up. And we can get a little bit impatient at times and say, well, hey, how come this stuff's not all done? How come we still have more to do there? But in the long run, it might be better that we've spent a lot of time getting these things done and doing it in a way that makes better sense as we go along. So Angela, welcome to the show. And
thank you for having me.
What is going on over at Fairfield Hills?
Well, it's an exciting time over at Fairfield Hills with the property that is there. A lot of plans. There's going to be a skating rink there. There's a community garden that they have in place. A brewery's going in there, and it's just making it a lot more inviting, you know, for the residents of Newtown and even guests that come than just the town hall that used to be there before.
You're right. It's a great place for people to live here, to invite folks over from other towns, from other states to visit and take a look at what Newtown has to offer. That community garden thing, that sounds extremely inviting.
Yeah, and when I look at the pictures of what they have in place, it looks absolutely beautiful. So, and to make the space inviting instead of just these old buildings that are kind of, you know, mysterious looking, let's put it like that.
Yeah, dilapidated and run down, pretty much.
Well, you could say it like that.
They were dilapidated and run down 30 years ago, but I guess that they've stood the test of time on the outside, but and a lot of folks, I've so many conversations I've been in where people will say, you know, they're such great looking buildings. Can't they retrofit them and do something with them? Well, first of all, they're not really antique in any nature. They go back, I imagine, probably back to the turn of the last century, some of them. But it's very difficult to retrofit a building compared to taking it down to the ground and then bringing in and putting in a new building, which makes more sense for 21st century use.
Sure, and maybe, you know, we have the town hall that they redid. I mean, is it really necessary to redo all of those buildings? You know, maybe pick the one that you like the best, and then you have the idea of what used to be there.
That's a good idea. That's good thought.
But to make the spaces, you know, for today, and what we have going on today, I think, yeah, I mean, with the asbestos and all, like, it's a lot going on there.
It is very expensive to retrofit a building when you have those types of pollutants in the soil and in the buildings. You mentioned an ice rink. I hadn't heard about that yet.
Oh yeah, over there, the NYA that's been there for 10 years, they're going to get an ice skating rink in there as well, which should be really, you know, it's a skating rink. I mean, who doesn't like hockey?
That's exciting. And that would be for year-round use?
Oh yeah, so year-round use, and it's breaking ground in April. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting time over there.
It's a great size. You get a great size field with a hockey rink because there are a lot of other types of things that you can do on the ice other than play hockey. So it should get a tremendous amount of use.
Sure, yeah, hockey, and then you can skate, and then, you know, with the girls with the figure skating, or just, I mean, when I was a kid, I used to just skate just because it's fun. I mean, who knows? They might have an open play type skating venue over there, but it's just great to have different things. I mean, it doesn't have to be just one thing and that attracts one set of people, but just having a variety so everybody has a place that they can go and have it right there at Fairfield Hills. It just makes a very diverse, interesting place to go.
That's the key, because our attentions are drawn in so many different directions. There's so many different diversions nowadays that to have a lot of different things to do, the more things that are there to do, the more interest and more attention and more folks that'll want to come there to take advantage and enjoy those outdoor activities and indoor activities.
Sure, and it keeps people from not being in such a bubble. I mean, people are so used to just hanging out with their one set of people that do all the same thing, but to have, like, I mean, they have horse trails over there and hiking and the doggy park, and then they have, you know, the skating and the basketball and the football and, you know, just, you know, when people go biking, and I mean, like, just to have all of that and a place where all these people can do it together, it's just, I think it's needed in today's world. And it's what better place than over here in Newtown, Connecticut. I mean, it's gorgeous.
And the land was free. It was part of the deal, and now we have the opportunity to use it as we see fit. And there's been, as I say, this has been going on for decades, a very slow process, but you've had a lot of different people that have had the opportunity to add their input going forward in the long run, the long term, to put a lot of different things in there. The doggy park sounds like, well, yeah, who doesn't like a doggy park?
Oh yeah, the doggy park is awesome because it's fenced in. They have a section for the smaller dogs, or like my dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's really small, but she likes to hang with the big boys, right? So they can all play together. They have, you know, dogs that do the dog shows, like all these little, like I don't know, like playground equipment for dogs, and water park, and I mean, it's just phenomenal. And take the dog off the leash and let her have fun and play with other dogs. I mean, it's just a great space as well. And another thing I think is important is that it's not, besides the going, you know, the road going to the highway, is not a lot of traffic, so that, you know, you can, once you get outside of the doggy park, which is tucked away by itself, and if you want to walk around, you can. You don't have to worry, you know, about getting hit by a car or something like that. Because there's not a lot of traffic over there, and there's plenty of open spaces where no cars can even go.
And now moving on from dogs to a little bit larger dogs, of course, you've got the governor's equestrian.
Yes.
And you mentioned some horse trails?
Oh yeah, so behind the doggy park, there's it's gorgeous. Horse trails, hiking trails. I mean, like just where there's, you know, there's no cars there. It's just beautiful. Beautiful trails where you're in nature, and, you know, it's a phenomenal spot.
And those are very low maintenance, so there's not a lot that needs to be done to maintain a horse trail. And we've got some amazing horse trails traveling through the entire town, and this just adds to it, so that people can, you know, I guess if I had to make a comparison between, let's say, golf and riding a horse, I know a lot of people like to play golf, but horse trails and horse riding and dog parks, those are a little bit more environmentally friendly.
Sure.
And much less low maintenance than a golf course could be. And there are a lot of other golf courses in the area for people to take advantage of and go to. But this is, as you say, this is extremely unique, some of the things that are being incorporated into Fairfield Hills. Continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I would hate to see, I mean, if you ever go there, the horse trails and the hiking trails are so gorgeous. It would be like an assault on nature just to plow that all down and put like a golf course. It's just so gorgeous if you ever get the chance to discover it. And like you said, it's better for nature. You know, we need trees, you know, and having it in its natural state. Like there's also something for like all the little bugs and the little critters to be able to, with a whole ecosystem of life that you don't like drag away every time a tree knocks down and drag it away. No, there's actually a space in nature for that tree that, you know, got knocked over, is rotting or whatever.
I keep thinking back to the community garden. Is this scheduled to be flowers, vegetables, everything?
Well, I saw on the plan, I don't have it with me, was with flowers, and it would be nice to have like a fruit garden, and you know, the plants look beautiful. I mean, just to have that inviting space for people to come. I mean, to have like the rustic, like in the hiking trails, that rustic raw, and then in the state, like just walk a little further, and then have that manicured space as well. I mean, just like diversity, to have all of it right there in that one place is
best of all worlds.
Yeah.
Are the plans that you're speaking of, are they on display?
Sure. If you go to the town hall and you walk through the hallway, and it's off to the right-hand side, they have the plans for the community garden. They have plans for how regular people, individuals, can get involved in individuals to businesses to anybody who has an interest in you know, the community, how they can participate and be a part of this process. With recycling, they have a billboard contest that is going on. They have you know, different ways that you can get connected to another group of people, so you're not doing it all alone if you don't want to. So it's a tremendous way to be able to impact your community, impact nature, and be a part of something big.
You mentioned recycling, which of course is altogether another part of nature, but certainly is part of our ecosystem. What's going on with recycling? How does Newtown handle its recycling? And folks in other towns that are watching can probably do a little checking in their own town and find out how their town compares and contrasts to Newtown.
Sure. We're lucky to have people that have spent a long time here in Newtown and know the concerns. So if you ever want to, you go to the transfer station and you could talk to John, who's been there for 47 years since the place was built. He helped build it, and he's so warm and friendly and be able to walk you through the entire process. And for somebody like me that, you know, it takes usually more than one time for me to actually get it. I mean, he's so warm and inviting, and that he's able to help you out. And Thursdays is a great day to go because it's like a slower time, so that you can
Interesting.
have more time. But they recycle. Nothing goes into the. There's no such thing as landfill anymore.
Right.
Nothing goes into the land. Everything gets put. You can recycle the plastics, the cardboard. They just today we're on Wednesday. It's different from when it's going to be aired, but started a new machine where you can put all your plastics and cardboards into one section, and then it gets kind of like a single stream for plastics and cardboard, and then it gets recycled out. All the electronics, and what they're really trying. And another thing, fun fact, is that if you're a resident of Newtown, you can. If you're really good at recycling, you won't get charged. If you just recycle everything and don't put anything in a single stream garbage, you can like use all the recycling things, you know, as part of your taxes. It's only when you put it into that larger all your garbage,
where everything together, one size fits all.
Yeah,
that's a good investment on the part of Newtown to allow people to do that, and in exchange not charge them.
Yeah. Well, part of taxes. I mean, you kind of paid for it, but to get people to do it.
Yeah, but it's an investment.
Yes, it is an investment,
and a very wise investment on the part of the folks in town who came up with the idea and who continue to travel forward with that idea.
Sure, absolutely, and everything you can. bring your brush there, your mattresses, your electronics, so that everything is getting used. So you don't want to, especially a place like Newtown or in this country, you don't want to, I mean, everybody's heard of like over there in China where they had big old bales of plastic and garbage all over the place. People probably remember New York City back in the 70s and 80s and how it was swamped with garbage.
Yeah.
You don't want to live in that type of environment. You want it to be a place that you want to be. So to go through the process of recycling, and they also recycle like the food. You take all your food waste and create dirt and soil. I mean, who doesn't like dirt and soil?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
things mulch down fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And that's putting something back to a second usage along the same lines as the first usage.
So yeah, so these are all ways that we can help our society, make it more enjoyable for ourselves, for our kids, for our community. And I think it's a great step. I mean, if you could do just step one and take your food and put in one section and put your rest of your garbage, I mean, just that one simple step will help out so much. They're also doing a compost in the billboard in the town hall. They have a composting class that's coming up. You could take this for free and learn how to compost in your own backyard. So they have just in that one billboard all these different ways that you can help out and help your environment, your community, everything. So it's a great spot to go to.
And probably a lot of good information gleaned over the years from what other towns did. Because the towns will go to the folks will go to and see what the other town is doing and learn a little something and sharpen up what they're doing based on good ideas that they see practiced in other towns. And we had John Nuzzi on the other show today, and we were talking about a new school going in Brookfield, and about how they're getting in early on to look at how best to heat, cool, and light the new school. They're actually taking a new school and putting it on the same property as an existing school, and that way they can save money to begin with by having specialty teachers. They can travel door to door, right next door, from one school to the other, and they don't have to travel to a different part of town to actually teach whatever specialty they have. But Newtown.
Your kitty cat says someone is trying to call you.
Oh,
Kitty says hurry up and answer. Don't make Kitty angry.
you know, the cat's not supposed to call until later in the show, but so I'm going to leave that for now, right now. But so towns will go to other towns and learn ways to improve what they do, based on, same for the dog, learn the same thing that they learn from other towns, and I'm sure there'll be people from other towns over in Brookfield tonight when they're getting started on this prospect of they want to site the schools in such a way so they take the best advantage of the sun traveling across the sky to make the best use of potentially for solar energy to provide all or most of the electricity for the school, which again, like we talked about with Newtown, with investing and doing things in such a way so that in the long run you save money. It's right there, Brookfield, same thing. They want to save money over the course of decades, and by doing it right the first time, they can accomplish that, because it's a big investment when you're building a new school or retrofitting an old school. And we've seen this in Newtown, and I'm sure that people have probably come to meetings in Newtown and in other towns in the area and learned about what they're gathering what information they can to take back to their towns.
Absolutely.
So that everybody gains by watching what other people are doing. There's no harm in mimicking. And again, you mentioned China and how China has these big glumpy things of plastic and whatnot, and we've learned from that how to get into the different streams of recycling with the different materials. And China will learn from that, and they are learning from that because they're actually ahead of us in terms of solar energy. They're ahead of us on the train for using solar energy properly, and now we're going to have to learn from them to advance it for ourselves.
Yeah.
But continue with the go back to the gardens, the community garden.
Sure.
Because that's just such an appealing idea.
Yeah, I think it's important to have it spaces that is attractive. You know, because usually when you go into the town hall to pay your taxes, it's not like you're not in the best of mood, you know. But to get out of that funky mood and be enticed to, you know, explore the gardens, explore the area, you know, and enjoy yourself, and to have a lot of people be able to take advantage of that space is important.
And when things are done right, you're getting more back. You're investing through your taxes, and you're getting things back from the town that you live in that you can do that makes your life more enjoyable.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. This is unnerving when you get to the 21-minute mark and you've got, but let's go back to the notion of.
I was thinking before.
Okay.
You were talking about learning from other towns.
Yeah.
Like the hazardous waste. Every month on the 3rd, they go to a different, whether it's Newtown or Brookfield or whatever, and that's where you can dispose of your hazardous waste. And John, the guy I was telling you about before, that's worked 47 years. He's there, so they're able to learn what's going on in different communities. Connecticut is one of the people learn, all the different other states learn from us because we're kind of ahead of the game on how to recycle and reuse. I think that's really an economic advantage because that's jobs. I mean, if we know how to do this well and right, that's going to give us, because this is where everything is going in the future.
Which might be a reflection of the fact that Connecticut is, relatively speaking, a small state. So we don't have wide open spaces where we can just cart things out to and just dump it and forget about it.
Yeah.
We have to make better use of our land, and by doing that, we're doing things better.
Absolutely.
And you see that over the years, landfills in Connecticut have been Danbury. There's one in Norwalk, one up in Hartford, and many others that have been capped, and so that they've got a perma seal over the top of them. And what they could do then is they could do things like add solar panels up there and draw electricity, because the land's really not usable. You can't take all that stuff and take it anywhere else or go through it. So that what's done is done, but you have that opportunity to use make a second use of the land that you'd like to do, and not have to and learn from what you've done, and retrofit, reuse the land for a great purpose, like the use of solar energy or wind energy.
Yeah, I think that's really important because, you know, that's something that you can, I mean, what a great idea. You just harness the energy of the sun, you know, and you get energy. Like, it's a no-brainer to put investments
We're all here on this planet. All of us get everything we have from the sun, which God gave us. And we have this, everything we use, everything we eat, be it animal or vegetable, is only there by dint of the fact that the sun is giving us this right temperature, right amount of warmth, and
Your kitty cat says someone
all
is trying
right,
to call you.
this is the cat.
Kitty says hurry up and answer.
You know, you're only supposed to call in once per show. Said, well, I have to say it in cat first, and then I'll translate it. Said, meow, 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 meow. He said, I only called in once. What do you mean? But are you coming home? See, now he stole the car about 4 months ago, and he's been doing this cross-country gig. I don't know where he's been. I don't even want to know where you've been. I'm hoping you bring the car back in one piece. And how in the world do you fit? I mean, how in the world do you fit your feet all the way down to the gas and the brake pedal? He said, "Wow." Said, "Look, you know a lot about science. You know that the amazing things that both humans and animals can do to make use of the limitations that they have in their bodies. Okay, enough is enough. Okay, we're gonna Basil Budakat presents exclamation point. He's on at this point he's limited to YouTube. Basil Budakat presents, and his own Facebook page, Basil Budakat. We're going to get him back on charter pretty soon. And okay. And by the way, bringing the car home in one piece. Thank you. Where were we? Oh, he also wanted to know, and he said it in sort of a, Basil's going to be a little bit, I don't want to say vulgar or foul-mouthed, but here, snarky. He's a bit snarky. And he asked me, by the way, when's the cat park going to go down there? When's the cat park going to go down there, he says.
This whole earth is the cat's park. The cats can go wherever they want.
And that's exactly the answer he wanted from you. He's very pleased now. Wherever he is, he's smiling behind the seat of the car, hopefully not doing too much damage to it. So we're gonna close the show down, but before we do, continue on about this flower garden, because the community garden, because it sounds like how much land is being dedicated to that? Is it a big piece of land? Is it adaptable to expansion and contraction? Can it be made bigger according to people's interest in it?
Well, that's a really good question.
Because you never know.
You never know. And what would be awesome, like, is for people to be able to put their own little stamp on it, you know,
Yeah.
and make it truly a community garden where people from the community are actually being able to grow things there. You know, why not have like berry bushes and apple trees, and then people from the community can go and grab an apple before they go hiking through the trails. So those are all really good questions that I would love to know the answers to as well. I would love to see it a lot more community involvement.
And I'll bet there are people, right as we're talking, are thinking about that, further honing those plans to get that community garden into an adaptable situation that 3-4 years from now somebody comes up with a different idea and says, well, how come the berry bushes, for instance, or the apple trees, or well, something that grows a little quicker, but the berry bushes, to come along and say, hey, how about we do this, and within a reasonable amount of time, you can you'll have that adaptation to make the community garden into something a little different than it was a few years earlier.
Oh yeah, and then that's when you're really responsive to your community, and that's when you really can keep people's interests. Is when you're able to adapt to the changing of the mood of the time.
And with that, we're going to say goodbye to you for now. But join us again on Progressive Soup. I'm David Stevenson, Angela Evertez. And we're going to continue on with some other shows going forward. Thanks for joining us.